Hi, my name is Ayesha Nasir. I'm the founder of Scaryammi, which is aiming to become Pakistan's largest and first digital mothering platform. So I began Scaryammi. A lot of people ask me, why is it called Scaryammi? It's called Scaryammi because when I was preparing my eldest son for HSN, like a very tortuous journey in the sense that there is a lot to cram in a short time when you're preparing a child for the HSN entrance exam. So he would cry and tell his dad, oh, mama's very scary. And so that name kind of stuck. And I feel the term Ammi is so quintessentially Pakistani and encapsulates the Desi spirit. So I always knew that I wanted to do something with the name Ammi, and Scary kind of stuck. The name is very personal to me, but later on when the group grew and the community grew, I realized that it also perfectly describes what parenting in the East is all about. Because we tend to parent through fear. Like if you've ever noticed, the way we talk to our children is, if you don't work hard, you won't be successful, namaz nahi padhoge, to jannat mein nahi jaoge. Like our language is a language of fear when we talk to our children, which obviously I hope that with awareness and education of mothers that will change. But that is the background behind the name. And Scaryammi actually began when I was suffering from postpartum depression with my fourth child. And I was desperate to find a community of mothers who were, similarly overwhelmed, didn't really know how to manage everything because 4 children is a handful. We were shifting cities. I was trying to balance work and home, and I was really looking for a community where I could learn from, I could share my experiences. And since I couldn't find that community, hence I began Scaryammi. And it exploded very quickly, which made me realize that there are hundreds and thousands of other mothers out there also looking for a similar community. So at Scaryammi, our mission is very simple: to help Ammis be the best Ammis possible. And the best way to do that is to make them aware, to educate them, to provide them with the tools. So those tools can be just awareness sessions, how do you diagnose or how do you figure out if your child has developmental delays? What do you do if your child is not breastfeeding? Is it okay to get pregnant after 40? Like XYZ. And making sure that these Ammis are getting expert advice along with the advice from seasoned Ammis is the ethos behind Scaryammi. But as we've grown, we've realized that Ammis are looking for products that are endorsed by other Ammis. They're looking for services. They're looking for reviews, rankings. So really providing Ammis with all the information and the content they need to be like the best Ammis possible. Because, there's a very famous saying by Napoleon, which is, give me good mothers and I will give you a great nation. And I often say that if able to give Pakistan these aware, educated, motivated, inspired Ammis, then yes, we will get a great nation. So when it comes to how Scaryammi has impacted Ammis, there are so many stories. So, every time I'm feeling down or demotivated, or I'm like, is there a point to what I'm doing? I think as women entrepreneurs, especially as Ammi entrepreneurs, because the time we're giving our business is time we're taking away from our children and our families, it's really important to feel like what you're doing has purpose. Otherwise, you don't really feel like doing it since the cost is high, since you're taking time away from children who probably need a lot of your time. So for me, when those moments come, I always look into my inbox and I see hundreds of messages from Ammis who talk about how their lives were changed or how at a certain point in their life, having Scaryammi really transformed it. So I still remember there was this one Ammi. We did a session with a speech therapist, and there was this one Ammi who reached out to me later and said that she had no idea that her child has a speech delay because her child was the eldest in her family and he was delayed, but she didn't realize that it was a delay. And so had she not attended that session, had she not heard the doctor speak, she would have ignored it. And, with delays, the earlier you enter and intervene, the better the prognosis. So she was really grateful. And with therapy, her son was able to start talking. So that's a story that I always remember. Then another story, one of my favorite Ammis, Sonia Kaval, talks about how she felt like her world was just a room, because she has a son who is a special child, and he's extremely and heavily dependent on her. So, special children also, there are so many types of special children. In her case, her son is 100% dependent on her because of his limitations. And so she was like, this is my life. Like, I'm literally in a room with my son, literally taking care of him all day long. So one of my favorite ammis is Sonia Kawal, who lives a life with a lot of challenges. Like, we all live life with challenges, but hers are slightly harder or slightly more difficult. So she felt like she was literally restricted in one room because her son has special needs, and his needs are such that he is 100% dependent on her. So he can't talk, he's physically challenged, everything from taking him to the washroom, to wiping his mouth, to feeding him, everything is on Sonia. And so she was feeling very depressed and obviously feeling like there's no outlet. And when she began writing on Scaryammi, a lot of ammis responded with words of encouragement and inspiration and motivation. And it really led to her like just thinking that there was a bright future out there. And now she's become an entrepreneur. She's an ammipreneur, which is what we like to call all these ammis. And she always tells me that was it not for Scaryammi, she wouldn't have gone that far. And honestly, there are hundreds of ammis who actually began their businesses on Scaryammi. So, like another ammi was talking about, let's say, the need for socks for babies. And some ammi on Scaryammi read that and is like, oh, that's a good business. And so she began like selling socks for babies or making socks. And so many ammis have inspired each other. So I was telling somebody that, I've not done any like actual analysis, but I'm sure there are at least like 50,000 ammipreneurs on Scaryammi right now. And there are so many other ways in which we motivate each other. So when I spoke about my pregnancy, a lot of ammis reached out to me and they're like, oh, do you think it's okay to get pregnant after 35? What are the risk factors, etc. And then I think while I was still pregnant, 2 ammis reached out to me and they're like, your pregnancy gave us the courage we needed to get pregnant. So I feel motivation and inspiration comes in so many ways, from learning from each other, which is what Scaryammi helps you do, to teaching each other, to gaining inspiration, to gaining recognition, to, just making even basic contacts, and most of all, to learning and to becoming more and more aware. So my work at Scaryammi is really about educating ammis, giving them awareness and helping them connect with each other. And when it comes to connections, I feel like I'm a natural connector. So I've started a number of other initiatives. Like one of them is the Professional Women's Group, which is at this point just a WhatsApp group. So let's see how far it evolves. I think every new thing that you start, whether it's a business or an enterprise or an idea or a company or just a WhatsApp group, it takes on a life of its own if it is what the market needs. So the Professional Women's Group is now more than like 300 ammis strong. And it's just a WhatsApp group of like-minded mothers and like-minded women. And as it grows, we'll see how far the group needs to grow and what is the need that professional women wish the group can fulfill. So a lot of such initiatives are all like, for me, fall under the banner of just helping women and helping ammis be their best versions. Because I think when we talk about change, whether we talk about change in Pakistan or change in the society, change in our mindsets, it all begins with the woman. Like, people underestimate that, but the woman is the fulcrum of the mentality of the house, of the thinking of her children, of the ideology the house follows. So when you educate a mom, you're educating her entire generation. Because whether the children go to school or don't, whether they have the resources for formal schooling or not, an educated mom will raise educated children. She will figure out a way, whether it's homeschooling, talking to them in English, teaching them herself, whatever she does, she will figure out a way. Whereas an educated dad doesn't necessarily lead to generational changes. So, I talk about this to the government, NGOs on my platform all the time. All that we need to do to really help Pakistan step into the future is to educate the moms and then see the magic happen. Thank you.